Thank you. Thank you. Woo! Yes. Ed Mariziak here from East Toronto Living. And in this video, we're back in the studio. And we're going to cover a article that is from Blog TO. And that article is titled, "Here's Another Big Sign Toronto's Housing Market is in Turmoil Right Now." Yee. Okay, more doom and gloom. So we're going to unpack this article, check it out. So if you want to learn more of what's going on in the Toronto housing market, stay tuned. Before we continue, if this content is useful for you, if you're getting value from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Comments are so helpful. I get so many ideas from the comments, and I want to address the questions, and I'm really happy to do so. Also, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, especially in the East End here, or the area that we talk about the most, don't forget, here's my contact information. You can call me, you can text me, you can send me a carrier pigeon, you can email me. We can set up an appointment. We can talk on Zoom if you're from out of town. Go out for coffee. Love meeting people for coffee. You can come into my office here, and let's talk about your real estate needs. Okay, so without further ado, this reporting is from Blog TO, and the title is, "Here's Another Big Sign Toronto's Housing Market is in Turmoil Right Now." Yeah, there we go. Doom and gloom again, hey? But hey, what can I say? These headlines sell. So this reporting is from Blog TO. I'm going to leave you an image of the actual article. I tried leaving the link last week, but the problem is the link was so large. The program condensed the lettering, so it was just this teeny little line. People were having difficulty seeing the actual link. I mean, you can click onto it and get to the article, but here's the article right here. I'm just showing that right now, and you could search Blog TO, and you could search this title, and you'll recognize this article. So. The Toronto real estate market is stuck between a very large rock and a very hard place. And the Toronto faces the unique dilemma of having more than 30,000 homes up for sale. Okay, those were May's numbers. So the actual number was 32,084. I covered that a couple weeks ago when these TREB numbers first came out. So that's not news for us. And yes, that is a historic high. I mean, we haven't seen numbers like that since the Great Recession. It started in 1994, finished somewhere. Well, I think finished around 99, and then the economy started to move again. But I was around in those times. I remember. I wasn't practicing real estate at the time, but I was paying attention to real estate, and every third house was for sale. Almost not quite like it is now, but we're getting there. We're getting there. But I don't think we'll ever get there. And the reason why I say that is because I see other numbers coming out. But let's continue with this article, and we'll talk more about why I think this market's going to improve, and why you should not put too much stock into the doom and gloom. Because things are about to change, but let's continue. So, they're pointing to data that is that's a lot of it comes from TREB. I mean, TREB, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, will compile and crunch all these numbers and present them to us. And I have access to all of that, of course, and I talk about them because I have to talk about them. Even before I was a YouTuber. And I had to know about these numbers. So, I mean, for me, it's fairly easy to talk about. But yes, it says here that this is a profound slump. So it is. It is actually it's a slower time to sell. But to buy, this is, you can't get a better time to buy real estate right now. We haven't seen this kind of a buyer's market since the mid 90s. So why isn't everybody buying right now? Now we did see some increases in the bank rate, but in the last 18 months, they've returned to dropping the bank rate because inflation yesterday was posted 1.7%, exactly what they projected. So that's really good news. That means stuff is going up in value. The cost of living is going up in value at a very low rate, at a at a at a rate that is acceptable for Canadians. So we are seeing better times ahead. Yes, we saw huge inflation 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and the Bank of Canada, in order to combat inflation, they had to raise the bank rates, and which worked, but at great cost. This article also cites that there's been an uptick in power of sale listings. That's not good. We haven't seen that in a long time because, up until a couple of years ago, Canadians were, as a whole, Canadians were very vigilant in paying their mortgages. There were no powers of sale, or very few. Very few Canadians would die before they defaulted on their mortgage payment. I mean, that's their life. That's their home. So this was it's almost as though it's a work ethic, and it's a good one too. People were paying their houses off, and it was a worthwhile investment to do so, and a worthwhile thing to do. But now we're seeing an uptick in that because times are getting rough. Whereas thanks to some of our friends down south there, they're causing instability in the world economy. And companies are starting to lay off people, are not hiring. And I mean, a lot of this too, I think is psychological. I mean, when somebody, says they're going to start doing something, and then there's a whole psychological impact. People just start doing stuff. And then all of a sudden we've got this herd, this hysteria, this mass hysteria happening. And then all of a sudden, people start making decisions based on this mass hysteria. Anyway, it's getting a little bit outside of what this article is talking about. But I think it does open up into a broader topic. And powers of sale are starting to increase now. Again, opportunities for buyers here. I mean, I've never dealt with a power of sale. I've seen them happen, and they're no fun for the seller. But Canada has different laws about powers of sale. I mean, when they do happen, basically all the debts get paid, and whatever's left over goes to the owner. So it's not the worst thing that could happen. It's not great. It's not great to have your credit ruined, but at least in some cases, the seller who is in power of sale will get some monies back. And hopefully, in a lot of cases, actually, I did help one lady. Well, but she didn't go into power of sale, though. I'll briefly talk about this situation. We did have a lady come in, and she was in financial trouble, and we took her house. We sold it. We found her a cheaper house, slightly outside of where she lived, and paid off all her debts. And she had almost, and she found got a smaller, cheaper house for her outside of her area, which was a good area. And when it was all said and done, she had $100,000 in her pocket, so avoided a big situation. So I mean, these are the kinds of things that us realtors will do to help people. Make a win-win for everybody. And this is the kind of thing that I live for. I get great joy of helping people out in those sorts of situations, and I've had a couple of those, and also some investment properties. I mean, I've helped make people into millionaires quite often, more than once, or at least got them such a big investment that in time they became millionaires as a result of that one investment property that I helped them find and sold them. So okay, enough about how I help and all that. We could always talk more about that later. But this is not good news. More powers of sale in the area in Canada as a whole is not good news. This article also goes on talk about the glut in inventory, and that is true. I mean, we cannot ignore the fact that we have a glut in listings, which is kind of baffling because 3 years ago there were 10 buyers for every house for sale, but now all of a sudden we have a glut in listings. So it's a very fascinating situation that we're in here. I think, like I've spoken to many times, we'll get a couple more rate cuts. Hopefully things will calm down a bit south of the border, and we can have some stability, and this whole mass hysteria will end, and we could start seeing some a balance in the market. And that's really what we really want. We want a balancing market. Before, we've had a seller's market for 15 years. Actually, it was more than 15 years. We've seen a seller's market. Yeah, it was about 15 years. Let's say 17 years. And buyers were just getting beaten up. But now we have a glut in the market. Buyers are in the driver's seat right now. You can get great properties right here in the city. You can get them for a better price. We can negotiate, and there's time, and you're not competing against. Well, sometimes you are, because if it's a good property priced well, all ready to go, sometimes those properties will go, and they'll go for more than asking. But we're seeing less of that, and we do want to see a more balanced market where it's even Steven. Maybe if you maybe have one, or maybe two offers on a property at the most, and that second offer is just a tire kicker, and whereas the other offer is an actual bona fide real offer for the property. So, okay, I mean, things are pointing to a recession, but we can also avert that with some lower rates, and I believe because there's going to be some pent-up demand coming, as people eventually are just going to get fed up living in their parents' basement apartment. Couples. There's lots of couples now living in their parents' basement apartment, and I'm sure they don't want to do that, and they want to get on with their lives and start putting that monthly payment from instead of rent into actual real estate. So I'm very optimistic. And I see all this doom, and we see all this doom and gloom all the time. And it's just to sell. It's to sell articles, and it's in a lot of ways it's misleading, in my opinion. But yeah, we can't ignore the fact that things are happening here. And about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had my friend come in, but he said something rather profound, and I want to repeat it because there's never really a bad market. It's bad for some people, but it's good for others. So, if you're a buyer, it's a good market. It's a great market. If you're a seller, it's not so good. But again, if you're one of these great buyers of the city that bought 20 years ago, it's still your lottery ticket here in the city of Toronto. Okay, I think that should just about do it. So, if you got any questions about real estate, here's my contact information. And don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to like and comment. I love comments. I love addressing them, and they give me ideas. And so thank you everyone. And don't forget, every Thursday at 5 o'clock I put out a new video. So we'll talk to you. We'll see you Thursday, and have yourself a great week. Stay cool. See, I'm in my short sleeve, my Hawaiian shirt, and I'm staying cool. Bye for now.